I have played Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51 for, I don't know, 6 years. And throughout that time, I've fought against and played as many different killers. Michael Myers, Captain Zombie, Slender Man, Rick Astley. But which killer is the best? Yes, I know, this is a very original question that no one has ever asked before. I'll be answering it in this video by ranking all SAKTKIA killers from S tier to F tier. Wow, very original again. So buckle up, and don't get mad at any of my opinions, because honestly, it doesn't matter. Let's start terribly with Jeff. Okay, maybe not the worst killer out of the bunch, but let's just be honest, it's not that great.
The only thing that Jeff has is a knife, which isn't bad, but it isn't the greatest either. And he also has a Molotov which you can throw, but I don't really find it being that useful in most scenarios. Also, the design of Jeff is just alright. Kind of weird looking, but alright.
Nothing really good about Jeff, so I'm just gonna put it in D tier. Wow, starting off great so far. Next up, Zombie. The best description of Zombie I can give is mid. It's not like it's a terrible killer or anything, it's just not that good either.
Nothing really to say about Zombie's design, it's just a pretty basic green avatar with red eyes. He's also able to punt, which is just alright. But where Zombie shines a little bit is of course his slime pool, which you can turn into, which makes him walk around faster, also makes his hitbox a little bit smaller, and a cool thing about it is he can actually go through doors, which is really nice, especially when people are always closing doors on you. But there really isn't anything too crazy about Zombie. It's not bad, but it's not the best either.
I think Zombie is just the perfect definition of C tier. It's just meh. But you wanna know what's not meh? Alien! Woo! Here it comes, guys. My first S tier killer, if you couldn't tell by my incessant screaming.
Now, Alien's design is just alright, not too bad, but where Alien really shines is its abilities. One of its abilities is its acid ability, which is very powerful because if people touch it, then they're going to be dealt a lot of damage. And its other ability, the grab ability, is really, really nice to have. Not only is it nice because it damages players that are a bit further away, but it also makes players drop their weapons when it touches them, which is actually very important, especially if the player has a deadly weapon like a Pack-a-Punch ray gun, so you can quickly disarm them, and then you have a better chance at killing them as they're trying to switch to their other weapon, if they have any. So overall, Alien's abilities are just amazing, his design is pretty nice, so there's a lot of great things about this killer.
Yep, S tier killer. Although the walking animation still bothers me. Why did you give it that animation, Homer? But what comes up must come down, and in this case, we're scratching the bottom of the barrel, baby. These are the most garbage, trash, dumpster fire of killers. Like Rake. Okay, now I will say, Rake has gotten better than it was in the past, but that really isn't an accomplishment. The design of Rake is kind of cool and unique, so I do have to give it some special golden stars there. But here comes the stank.
Now, the Rake's design is not too bad, but it is copied across a lot of Roblox games. But the thing I really hate about Rake is its gameplay or abilities. From a killer standpoint, sometimes its ability
just doesn't really work properly. In particular, in
Yeah, so I yapped way too much in this segment. I went on and on and on about how the jumping ability is not that great because it sometimes hits into the ceiling. But wait, why did it just work then? And wait, it just worked again! And wait, I did so much damage to that guy! Is Rake actually good? You know what? No, it's so annoying to deal with as a survivor. Honestly, I'm just gonna put it in F tier out of spite. I do not care, cry about it! But if you actually like Rake, I won't get mad at you.
Well, looking at Rake makes Fishface actually seem pretty reasonable. Now, I apologize to Ash for this, but Fishface is just mid. It's just another mid killer, I'm sorry.
Again, I'm not gonna waste your time on this one. Basically, Fishface's Stinky Breath is just an alright ability. Not too bad, not too good. The piranhas can deal damage, but they're kind of hard to aim with, and I don't really find them being that useful. So that's why I called it mid and put it in
C tier as well. Now coming up, I'd like to introduce to you what I've nicknamed the Shifty Killers. No, it's not because the killers are of a person or their manner, appearing deceitful or evasive. No, it's not because of that. It's instead because they can all use a technique involving shift lock, where you enable shift lock and then you continually move your camera left and forth to basically rub your weapon on a player to deal them a lot of damage. An example of this is Jeff. Why am I still wearing these? An example of this is Jeff, which I reviewed earlier by the way, just in case you forgot. This technique is very effective. Now, some of the killers are definitely better at it than others, but honestly the only reason why I'm even grouping these together anyway is to make the mood changes at the video so that people don't click off. Please do not click off the video, please, I beg you, do not click off, please! Also, many of these killers have the same knife, sword, or other melee weapon, but just skinned differently, so it kind of makes sense to group them all together anyway. These killers are as follows: Jack Torrance, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers, and Pennywise. Now let's challenge myself. Let's see if I can list all of these killers in under 60 seconds. Why? Don't ask questions that you know you're not going to get the answer to, okay? Alright, let me just go ahead and get my notes real quick. Oh, you thought I was going to do this all based on memory? Go! Jack Torrance wields an axe, his design is fine. I prefer him over other shifty killers as his jump ability makes it a lot easier to dodge players. B tier. Freddy Krueger. While I'm not a huge fan on the orbs due to them being hard to aim with, his knife is alright, and honestly, I'm just giving it more points because of the awesome nightmare modes, and because he has the fearless face. What could have been of this killer though still haunts me to this day. B tier. Honestly, I don't like Jason. His throwing knife attack is just annoying, and I know you won't have to deal with that if you use the shift lock method, but it's just pretty overall. I'm giving it a D tier. Leatherface isn't bad. The blocking ability can definitely be useful, but not as useful as Jack's jumping ability. However, I really like his design in Chainsaw, so I'm going to be putting it in B tier as well. Michael Myers. His twirling ability is definitely cool and helps to block shots, but I don't really like this killer that much, and he's really annoying to fight against, so C tier. Oh, guess we ran out of time. Too bad. We can't talk about the other killer. Robot's up next.
Now the first thing I have to say about Robot is its design is awesome. The red glowing eyes, the robot animation, the overall design of Robot, I actually really do like the design of this killer. To be honest, that's really the only good thing about this killer, because while its abilities are cool, having laser eyes, and also being able to shoot laser eyes like this, I find that being able to aim with the laser eyes is quite annoying because you can't really move the laser eyes. They're pretty much in a fixed position all the time. And the same thing with the shooting laser eyes, as while there's not a huge cooldown on it, it still is hard to aim with, and it's just alright, I guess. Now, I will say one cool thing about Robot is that if you die or reset, it actually does do this massive explosion, which can deal a decent amount of damage to players, so I do have to give it that. But overall, though, I'm just not a huge fan of this killer's abilities, and I feel like the gameplay of this killer is just pretty lacking.
It really sucks that his ability sucks, because Robot's design is really nice. But I just can't stand playing as it. It's just so annoying, so because of that, I have to give it a D tier. I'm sorry, Robot. Now, I really didn't understand the hate for this next killer until I actually played for it myself. Pinhead. Oh my gosh.
First of all, Pinhead's spike bomb ability is just literally whatever. I don't really find it being too useful in game, and when you actually are near players, it's just fine, I guess. It's just not anything too amazing. It can also do a melee attack where it hits players with its box, but one thing that makes this ability really annoying is the fact that every couple hits, it sprouts out this massive chain that makes you just stand in place. It just makes you stand in place without being able to move for a decent couple seconds, which is really annoying because that just gives people time to kill you. Now, of course, one good thing about this chain is that if you actually end up hitting someone with it, it actually drags someone towards you so you can kill them easier. But it's pretty hard to aim with this chain, and the fact that you have to stand still while doing it just makes it so less useful.
Gotta be another F tier for me. Throw it into the dumpster for all I care. Throw it into the void. Atom bomb it. I really do not care. Finally, another good killer, Slender Man. Now, I personally don't play as Slender Man very often, probably because it requires some skill, and everyone knows I don't have that.
The Slender Man's abilities are really nice. Now, the Vanish ability isn't too crazy, but it is something nice to have, as it makes it harder for players to see you and for them to shoot at you. Where Slender Man's abilities really come in is his teleportation ability, where he's able to teleport behind players, and then his tentacle ability, where if he's able to grab onto a player, he insta-kills them, which is just absolutely insane, and if you're able to ambush a player while doing this, is basically game over for them. The only thing about this killer, like I said before, is it does require skill because it's kind of hard to hit players with this tentacle ability, as it makes you stop in place, which makes you very vulnerable to players' attacks. So you have to be very sneaky about it, and you have to be very skillful about it.
So even though it's not a killer I play as often, I still have to respect that it's a very good killer, and I'm putting it in S tier. Ayo Ani is up next. Ow! Aowani is up next. And I'll be honest, I love this killer. Maybe it's recency bias or something, but being able to pick up Fuwadi, or even being able to pick up the players themselves and then throw them into fans, I just can't get enough of that. Honestly, it's just really awesome. For this reason, I'm giving Aowani, I said it right, an A tier. I'm sorry, I know it's not that powerful, but this is my tier list. I think it's really awesome, so I'm putting it there. While we're on the newest killers, let's also talk about Yeti. Yeti is a really cool killer. I love his design. How Yeti is just absolutely enormous and then walks around with this giant ice club that he can hit people with. He also has a crazy ice stomp ability that spawns giant ice crystals that topple anyone who gets near it. Seeing people ragdoll and SAKTK is just really fun. So not gonna lie, I feel like another A tier here. Just honestly quite a fun killer to play as. And again, it's definitely not recency bias. Wendigo is up next, and I think we all know where this one's going. Wouldn't it be fair to give Wendigo any lower than an S?
Now, what makes Wendigo a great killer is its charging ability, where if you press F, it'll make you go into this charging position where you can charge at players. And if you hit a player, it stuns them for a couple seconds, which gives you a chance to kill them. So if you get skillful enough at its charging ability, you're basically an absolute powerhouse and can kill a ton of players really, really easily. And even with the upcoming nerf on Wendigo that makes it harder to control, I still think it's a pretty great killer to use, and thus should be ranked pretty high on this list.
Definitely a powerful killer if you know how to use it. Although, again, the goofy walk cycle still makes me want to throw it in the dumpster, just like Alien. Alright, we've been positive for way too long. We gotta get some negativity up in here. Smile Dog. Like, seriously, who picks Smile Dog as their killer?
Now, one unique thing about Smile Dog is that it is one of the only killers that actually makes music. But the music is just kind of annoying, and while that doesn't really matter, what does matter is its abilities, which I will say Smile Dog's abilities kind of suck. Now, Smile Dog's key ability is its ability to jump, where if you click a couple times, eventually it will jump like this. And that is pretty useful because, like Jack Torrance, it means that you can jump around and get behind players to damage them. But unlike Jack Torrance, the really annoying thing about this is that instead of pressing a button like F to do it, it just happens every couple times that you do your melee attack, which is kind of annoying because sometimes you don't want to jump over players, you want to damage them. But then you'll just randomly jump and then you'll be far away from the person that you were trying to attack, which is just really annoying. So that, in addition to the fact that Smile Dog is not that powerful of a killer, makes me want to rank it pretty low.
Overall, pretty ant killer to be honest, but I'm giving it a 1-up and putting it in C tier because of the absolute carry it provides in Endless Survival. Whenever it drops max ammo packets and Hellhound rounds, that's just a lifesaver, bro. Thank you. Jane, S tier. Rick Astley, Rickroll. Let's do both of the Sonic killers next. Sonic.exe, I'm not a huge fan of. Sonic fans, please don't kill me. While the spin dash ability is definitely unique, its lack of easy control and the fact that it just bounces around makes it kind of annoying to play as, and also makes it really annoying to dodge as a player as well. The design is just alright too, it's just the basic Sonic.exe model you see in every single game. Also, I find it kind of hard to be able to damage players, just because instead of having a weapon like most killers, you actually have to touch the player to damage them, which makes it kind of hard, considering that usually players are faster than you. I would put it in D tier, but since it has such a cool ability, I'll put it in C tier. Tailsdale has the same problem with damaging players, but I'm actually going to be putting it in B tier above Sonic because the flying ability that it has is probably one of the most unique and cool abilities in SAKTK ever. It's really cool to be able to fly as Tailsdale whenever you're playing as him. But then again, the Tailsdale jump scare is so annoying, so F tier! Granny's up next, and this killer is probably one of the most ugly killers I've ever seen in SAKTK. Barring a few. The face and hair that it has just does not look good. I'm sorry, Granny.
Now, Granny's abilities are that you can hit someone with her club, and that you can place bear traps. And I will say, bear traps can be pretty effective, especially if you're teaming up with other killers, where the Granny places the bear traps, and then the killers damage them as they fall into the bear trap. As once someone falls into one of these bear traps, they get stunned for a couple seconds, and it makes it a lot easier for other killers and Granny to kill them. And you get 3 bear traps as well, which is quite nice. So while the design of Granny is pretty atrocious, it does have some pretty nice abilities to pair with it.
But honestly, I kind of feel like it would be a bit unfair to give it a D tier, so I'll be generous and I'll give it a C tier. So you're welcome, Grandma. 5 killers left, and you really thought I was gonna forget about the best SAKTK killer, Captain Zombie! Woo-hoo-hoo! I'm recording recording this at 12:40 at night.
Now, I love pretty much everything about Captain Zombie. His design is really cool. The fact that he has a captain hat on, that he has a peg for a leg, and he walks like he has a peg for a leg. The fact that he can spawn zombies from the grave that attack players for you, and also let you know where players are because the zombies actually track down players for you. And also his zombie bomb is really awesome because every once in a while he will shoot out a zombie bomb that can trap players and give you an easy chance at killing them. I also just love playing as this killer in general. I think his abilities are really fun, and overall, I just love this killer.
So, because of Captain Zombie's really fun abilities and awesome character design, I'm gonna be giving it the top of S tier. W killer. And no, I am definitely not glazing. Chucky! I mean, he's alright.
Now, the design of Chucky, I actually think fits him pretty well. It's a lot better than his old design. It looks a lot more like a doll, like he actually is. And his abilities aren't too bad either. His Megan ability is pretty good. The only downside being that it has a decent cooldown to it, and it can be pretty hard to hit players sometimes because of that cooldown. But another nice ability of Chucky, which I think is pretty cool, is his ability to jump and latch onto players and then use his Megan ability to further damage them.
I'm personally not a huge fan of Chucky, but he's not a terrible killer, so I'll put him in B tier. 3 more killers. And no, I'm not just writing this to remind myself how much of the script I still have to write. Eyeless Jack. He can trip players, so that's an automatic +1 for him. His dash effect acts like Wendigo's ability where you can hit into players to knock them over, but it's harder to control than Wendigo's just because you can't move after you've started. Also, being a player and having to deal with this annoying black ink on your screen for 30 seconds automatically brings it down a little bit. So I'm bumping it down to B. It's still grade level, just because I don't think it's that bad, and I do want to be fair. I would never rank a killer unfairly based on personal biases and hatred. Ghostface is up next. Of course, he's from Scream, so there's that. But the real perk of Ghostface is how he's able to steal players' guns, which is of course very helpful against the 7-year-old zombie morph pack-a-punch ray gun Game Pass user that can't help but freeze gun me every 0.5 milliseconds. But having to pick up items or the knife after you throw them is quite cumbersome, and overall Ghostface isn't really the best killer on his own. I'm gonna put him in C tier. Alright, that's it! Every killer in SAKTK! What the heck? What the heck is going on? Wait. What is that? No. No. This can't be. No. 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 No! Okay, fine. I'll rank Pennywise. Now, if you watch my channel frequently, thank you. But you probably know that I have a sort of beef with Pennywise and anyone who vouches for it. But today is the day I will settle the debate. I'm finally going to come out and say that Pennywise is actually not that bad. What? Did Blaze just say Pennywise is good? Yeah, after trying the shift lock method on Pennywise, I actually realized that Pennywise is actually a pretty good killer. He can do a lot of good damage against players. Balloon ability is actually really useful, being able to become a balloon trying to evade players. Honestly,
It's honestly not that bad of a killer.
and maybe I just
Should have given it a proper.
So I'm gonna
Pennywise in A tier. A tier. A. Did you do it? Yes, I ranked Pennywise A tier. Now please, let me go! No. I said S tier. Pennywise only deserves the best. A is high enough! Come on, you're nitpicking! S tier. You know what? No! I refuse. Pennywise is just not that good. I don't care what you say or do. I am not ranking it S tier. I really wish it didn't have to come to this. I was hoping that we could just resolve this peacefully. But if you want to do it like this, then I guess Pennywise will change your mind. Wait, what? No! 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 So I'm gonna be putting Pennywise in
S tier.
And finally, that's it! Every single SAKTK killer ranked! Alright, that's it. Bye!
Blaze, it's actually not the fearless face, it's actually some other random face that no one cares about.